I already said, my name is Angela Garcia, and I work in the Department of Pharmaceutical Science and Health here in São Paulo University in Madrid. I would like to welcome you to the third webinar on ECTS. This ECTS, as you already know, is done in behalf of Diets2. That I'm quite sure you all know that it's a network for dietitians, and that aims to support lifelong learning and educational standards all around Europe. And it's supported by a grant of the European Commission. Before I start, I would like to say thank you to my colleagues of Work Group 3 for their help in the making of this webinar. So thank you very much, Jutta, Francisca, Jutta, and Marie, and Yuli and Miguel. I hope I don't forget anyone here. As I'm quite sure you already noticed, I'm not an English native speaker, of course, so I must apologize for my English, and I hope you'll be able to understand me. And if you don't, please just let me know, and I will try to repeat everything and try to make my speech clear. And I hope this won't happen too often, but please don't hesitate and tell me. Of course, it's quite normal. Let's go on. Let's move. As Michelle said, the webinar will last around 20 minutes, and then we will have some 10 minutes more or less to debate and to share ideas about the use of ECTS in lifelong learning in dietetics. We will start explaining what the ECTS system is, what's the aim of the system, what do ECTS credits measure, where can ECTS credits be applied, how we use the ECTS credits at the university, how we can transfer those ECTS credits from one student to other student program, or from one country to other, how we can use the ECTS in lifelong learning, and then we will end with some questions for you to take the chance, and for some questions for the whole group to reflect. So, ECTS means European Credit Transfer and Accumulation System. It is the credit system used in all countries engaged in the Bologna process, and it was introduced in 1989 within the framework of Erasmus to facilitate the recognition of periods of study abroad, and thus to enhance the quality and volume of student mobility in Europe, and it's the only credit system which has been successfully tested and used across Europe. And ECTS is a cornerstone for the success of the Bologna process, as it makes study programs comparable, whatever the teaching institution is, or however these learning programs are taught. By the moment, and I know this is changing in some countries, only high education institutions, so universities or university college, are authorized to award ECTS. So, the main aim, as I said, of ECTS is to make teaching programs comparable. And to make these teaching programs comparable, we have to make teaching and learning in higher education more transparent. And so when we say that special activity is awarded with, let's say, ECTS, it means the same every place and every study, and we should all know what this means. And if you don't, I will try to explain it a bit later. The aim of the ECTS is to allow the transferability of learning achievements between different institutions and countries. And this transferability is not only focused in formal learning, that's the learning we do at the higher education institutions, but also should be applied to other kinds of learning, such as non-formal and even informal learning. With this transferability and transparency, we would try to make it easier to create a higher education area. And it's important to say that what ECTS also aims is to promote a learner-centered system. So we're changing our way to teach all around Europe. The traditional teaching system was a teacher-centered approach, and that is that the subject requirements, the knowledge, and the teaching process itself were considered the main elements in the educational programs. But a learner-centered system in the learner-centered system, the institutions take the role of facilitating and supporting learners in shaping their own learning pathways and help them to build on their individual learning style and experience. So in the learner-centered systems, students have more choice in the content, application, teaching methods, and pace of learning. So, as in the teacher-centered approach, the focus was on how do I teach and what do I teach. In the learner-centered approach, the main point is what have I learned and how can I learn these competences. ECTS wants to help with that too. What do ECTS credit measure? Well, we can say that what ECTS measure is time really, because ECTS measure workload, and by workload we mean the time that a typical student will need to complete all learning activities needed to achieve the expected learning outcomes you should get from a given subject or activity. So that is the time you should need to attend to lectures, seminars, doing projects, spending practical work, and even self-study or examinations. All those activities that you will need to achieve the learning outcomes. And by learning outcomes, we mean the things we should expect to know, understand, and be able to do after a successful completion of a process of learning. So, the competences you should achieve after doing. And then, I was telling you that what ECTS measure is workload, and of course, not all students will need the same time, the same amount of time to achieve the same competencies. Ones will progress more quickly, and others will go slower in this process. And ECTS, of course, it's just an average. It's important to point out too that ECTS credits do not express how well the learner performed the competences. The quality of the learner's performance is expressed by the institutional or national grading system. 1 credit corresponds to 25 to 30 hours of work, more or less. The exact amount of hours per credit varies really from country to country. I know that in Austria it's 25, I think in UK it's 20, and in Hungary, by example, it's 30 hours. And here in Spain, it's a range between 25 and 30, and it will depend on the institution. In my institution, it's 28, but I know in other institutions it's 30, and in other institutions it's 25. So it varies really.